Spry Guy here. Well, today, as you can see, we're going to be doing a little bit more clutch maintenance. This time we're going to be getting a little bit more involved instead of just actually checking the belt and cleaning. What's going on right now is, over the past couple weeks, I've been noticing that my clutch has been free-spooling. And the term free-spooling when it comes to clutches just basically means that it's not using the engine brake in order to slow me down. In behind this particular style of transmission, the Yamahas have a wet clutch, and by wet clutch it means it's bathed in oil. In that clutch, or in front of that clutch, on the spindle, in order to power the primary here, this being your primary and your secondary, if you're unfamiliar with how the clutches look and what their functions do within this style of transmission, the wet clutch powers the spindle, which powers this primary, spins up the belt, and then powers your secondary. Now, as I said, what's going on, normally the wet clutch stays engaged and slows down this primary, which slows down your belt, connected to your transmission, and gives you engine braking. So now that we've established that by looking at it, and you can function test your clutch just like this, just kind of bench test it, start your bike up. I have no oil in it right now. You can check the movements of your primary, movements of your secondary, and make sure your belt's within spec. The belt spec should be in your Yamaha, there we go, in your Yamaha owner's manual. If it's not in there, I believe it is, but if it's not for some reason, you can definitely check by just Googling. Google's a wonderful search feature, or search engine. So anyway, once you've established that the primary is okay, your secondary is okay, and your belt is okay, that leaves the wet clutch. In between your wet clutch and your primary, you have what's called a Sprag. Another technical term for this can be a one-way clutch bearing. Basically, it does exactly what it says. It is a bearing. It's a carrier bearing for this and for your clutch, your wet clutch, and what it does is it only allows your wet clutch to spin basically one way, because your motor only spins one way, which keeps your clutches engaged together, hence slowing you down, until you get to the point where that wet clutch is no longer engaged with the speed of the engine. And so your entire transmission, like it is right now, just kind of free spools. One thing that I did notice on the trail, you'll hear a loud click. Nothing to do, a lot of times now, it's nothing to do with your primary or secondary. And if you're free spooling, it's most likely your wet clutch or your Sprag. So what we're going to do here is we're going to delve into it. We're going to take off the primary. Secondary can, actually no, I am sorry. You probably will have to take the secondary off. I haven't done too much work in behind these clutches on this particular style ATV before. The Yamaha ATV or transmissions seem to be, really, really rock solid. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove the primary clutch first. And in order to access that, you're going to want to take off your footwell. And again, if I have to show you how to do that, you should probably take your bike to a dealer, because you should not be delving into anything like this, because it can be a safety issue. 22mm socket. Again, your choice on how you get this nut off. I'm going to use an impact wrench. It's your bike. If you feel you can use an impact wrench without damaging any of the seals, any of the bearings in behind here, because it's directly attached to your crankshaft, then by all means go ahead. Make sure that you are aware of that you can damage your drivetrain components. So, as soon as I find my impact gun, we will be set to go. Sounds kind of weak. Crank up the pressure a little bit. There. We'll wait till the noisy compressor shuts off. So once we have that nut removed, slide the primary straight off, set it aside. Probably one at this point, if you want to open it up to inspect it, inspect all the movements and all the rollers inside of here. Probably a good idea to do it right now. Oh, set it like that too. You don't want to be damaging your face of your primary here. So, you're now free to remove the belt. Inspect the belt. This has got 5,000 kilometers on it, and you can see the condition of it. It's almost like new. I change mine at every 5,000, so I'm almost at 10,000 now. So yeah, really good condition. These transmissions are really tough. Okay, now we can take the rear sheave off like so. Make sure again not to damage the face of that sheave. Now, secondary clutch has got to come off because we have to take this belt casing off. And it should be 24 or 22 again, and it is. I switched to my electric impact because the air impact that I'm using, it's slow. Not the impact itself, but the actual compressor I got down here. It's not ideal. Okay, don't mix up your nuts. Put my light back in so you can see. Straight off. There's your secondary spring. Good idea again at this point, check out your spring. This already has a Dalton clutch kit installed to it. That's why there's paint markings along here. It's part of the Dalton kit. Again, make sure everything's okay with that. Looks alright to me. Okay, so 10mm bolts. There is 2, maybe more in here. I see another one down there. So 1, 2, 6, 4, 6. Okay, now we get all the bolts removed. Pull that cover straight off. Should just fall off, really. Now you're into your wet clutch casing. Remove any of the junk that you see. First, anything lessen the chance of getting something stuck in there, or sucked in, or something. So I would assume there would be a gasket and a dead mouse. That's the second time this has happened. First time, if you watch my other clutch maintenance video, there was dead mouse the first time. The second one, there's just me. Yummy. So now, you got everything opened up. Make sure not to damage these with your tools or anything like that, because you want that shaft to be nice and smooth. Good time, check for oil leaks around your seals, things like that. Good thing about these types of seals, if you have the right seal puller, you can kind of pop it out just right there and then slide a new one in if you have the right tool to go over this. I'm going to replace the bearing and the seal on this end. Not going to be delving into the transmission side of things, but while you have it here, give it a nice little spin. Make sure it's spinning freely. There's no odd movements or odd wiggle or play or anything like that. And you see, I don't know if you can see that from here, there's a little bit of play right here, which is slightly concerning for me because I don't like having that to deal with your primary clutch. Anyway, just going back quickly, I'm going to replace this gasket here as well. So, hard on my knees. Alright, so now that we have this, looks like we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 8mm bolts, so we're going to be removing those next. Drain your oil before you do this, because if not, you're going to go everywhere. So actually, I'm going to give it a quick blast out with air. Again, I am not a mechanic. I had one guy reply on my last clutch video that this is the worst backyard mechanics he's ever seen. Well, if you look outside, you're in my backyard, so that's a good indication. I got the job done, so I can't say it's that bad. Yeah. To make the compressor go off again. There. Clutch dust. Doesn't taste that good. Alright. I am going to grab 8 mil. See if I got one that'll fit on 3-inch drive. I do. You know what? I'm going to be smart and put these back in here before I lose them. Okay. So, we got all the bolts loose. Now we just got to crack this case. So, I just got the blunt end of a screwdriver. Just going to tap around a little bit. Try to pull away. And there she be. You can see your wet clutch. I'll bring the camera in close here for a minute. This is the gasket you want to definitely replace, because as you can see it just falls apart. Your wet clutch spins inside of here. You want to make sure that there's no major grooves or anything like that cut in here. I'm probably going to end up just cleaning this up somewhat with emery paper. And if I'm not mistaken, this should actually pop out. So I will... Ooh, I'm leaking. I'll work on getting that out. Set that down here. And, wipe my hands on my pants. I'll bring you in close so you can see. You want to look at the condition of your clutch. This clutch has almost 10,000 on it. So it's in pretty decent shape. So you want to make sure that it's not rotten or anything like that. And here's your one-way clutch bearing right here. This little guy. And you can see by the arrow that's on it right there, I don't know if you can see it right there, that it does go one way. So make sure you don't put it on backwards. You put it on forwards. A little green mark usually means front. And that would slip right over here. So this is what we're going to be replacing. Cool. So now that you have everything apart, you want to clean up your seals. You want to clean up the inside of here again, the inside of your actual clutch assembly. And reassemble. Again, when you're tightening the bolts here, they're only aluminum. Don't crank the crap out of them. Tighten them like you're tightening a tire. Cross-check them, or cross-tighten them. Alrighty, well, I hope this at least showed you a little bit what's involved in your clutch. The wet clutch anyway, if you haven't seen what's in behind your belt casing. Again, I am not a backyard mechanic. Well, I am a backyard mechanic. I'm not a mechanic, an ATV mechanic. I am a technician by trade for heavy equipment. Somewhat the same, really. I mean, there's parts like this that are... I come across stuff like this all the time. It's all common knowledge. I mean, you're watching these videos, don't be afraid to delve into something if you feel that you're okay doing it, you know, definitely give it a try. If you're not comfortable with something, there's definitely people out there who can, like myself, you know, or other technicians or shops and stuff like that. Personally, I don't like taking stuff to shops. That's a whole other can of worms. But if you can work on your bike by yourself, don't be afraid to try stuff. So anyway, I hope I showed you at least what's involved in taking at least down to your wet clutch here. I'm not gonna involve taking anything else out. Oh, that's another good point right there. Give this a wiggle, because if that is loose in any way, you probably should get some crank bearings put in that bike. But everything seems to be nice and tight here too. So I am going to be replacing the bearing here and the seal here, and leak oil all over my floor. So okay, I hope I showed you guys something, and there you go. I appreciate your views, your likes, your comments. Any suggestions that you have, by all means leave them below, and we're all here to help each other out, at least for the most part. And when it comes to fixing our own bikes, because it's expensive, you got to pay to play. So anyway, guys, Raw Guy out. I appreciate it, and we'll see you next run.